Bill. As Danny Brough gets the second half underway, and Castleford trailing just as they did in their last National League One encounter. That was against the Lee Centurions. They were trailing at half-time then, and they battled through to win that 32-24. They've got a bit of battling to do here, and they didn't win that one until the last 5 minutes. I wonder if this one is going to be as nail-biting as that. Certainly has all the potential to be so. And the Widnes Vikings, though, will be hoping that they can put a bit more daylight between them and their rivals at the top of the table. Bezic. Two good drives early on from Ollie Wilkes and Bob Bezic there. But they're on the last now. It needs a good kick from Ian Webster, former St Helens Academy Player of the Year, but solid as a rock underneath it. Stuart Donlan almost breaking through, only to meet a strong tackle from the Widnes Vikings captain, Mark Smith.
Well, Widnes have done the first thing, I suppose, they did. Set as a target at half-time, they've completed a set, they've kicked the ball downfield, no mistakes, they've turned the ball over on their terms, and now they're going to put some effort and aggression into their defence.
Ryan Boyle, Damien Blanche and Lee Duran with the tackles. Here's Terry Glassy now. It looks as though both sides have come out with the instructions from their coaches just to get a solid, completed start to the second half. That's a great kick from Danny Brough, putting Grix under pressure, and Grix doing well to get out of trouble there.
Very, very good at getting away from people. The spin in the tackle, it's almost a natural spin, isn't it? He backs himself into two tackles. Grix gets himself between two defenders and just pushes through the gap. Try and land on his front, as Mick Cassidy does then. Most rugby league players, when they get tackled, love to try and land on the front. It means they can get up and play the ball quicker. It makes the next run for their teammate that much more easy.
Lee Duran now. Duran has lost that ball. It's gone backwards. Mark Smith has picked it up. Now has he got support from Webster? He has. Can the scrum half get there? But the referee has called them back. They're carrying on. Meanwhile, they've called it back for the knock-on. Peter Taverner, I think, must have got a call from the sideline there.
I think it was. It was a risky offload from Lee Duran, pretty close to his own line, and unfortunately, I think the ball did go forward. But three men in the tackle, not sure who's looking at the ball or who's concentrating on the ball. I think defensively, when you're teaching technique, you're asking players to look and secure the football and make sure they can't promote it.
I think that's play on. I think he attempted to pass it backwards. It didn't come out cleanly. It wasn't the best offload you'll ever see. Perhaps there's some Castleford Tiger arms around it. But the ball goes backwards, in my opinion.
You may be right,
The
Phil,
player
yeah.
goes backwards afterwards in the tackle. It's all for nothing. Here's McGoldrick now going close with Castleford.
McGoldrick is tackled just inside that Widnes 20. Here's Guttenbeil now. Second only to Stacey Jones in the number of appearances for the Auckland and then New Zealand Warriors. Guttenbeil lost their way a little bit with Kirk Dixon, and Dixon was lifted. Well, that's... Well, OK. Wilkes lifted him. Wilkes and Noon involved in the tackle when he went above the horizontal, so the penalty goes again to the Castleford Tigers. And good early pressure here for the Tigers. Looking to get back on the scoreboard. Shenton, Owen looking for his second of the game, doing well to stay in touch and get the ball in field. Lupton, but Cassidy is there to clobber him. Chris Charles now, Brough. Good. Terry Glassy it is. Attacking that end of the ground, populated by the Tiger supporters. McGoldrick doing the run around with Guttenbeil, and great defence there from Nannin. Nannin and Webster it was with the tackles. Here's Boyle, and Boyle trying to stretch out and get there, but he's knocked that ball forwards. Henderson says, "You are joking, you've got a video ref." But Peter Taverner, pretty certain what he saw there, and it was that Ryan Boyle just lost that ball as he stretched out.
I think you have to allow the licence to attempt that, Barry. He's pushed through two defenders. Yeah. He has a good grip on the ball. He thinks he's close enough, just doesn't quite get the measurement on it. Wow, in fact, am I wrong?
No, I think he is short, but when you talked about grip there, I'm massive me on getting the thumb around the ball, and I think that gives you the licence just to get that extra 6 inches. But in that case, that extra 6 inches would have meant the difference.
I mentioned at half-time there's plenty of Super League players in the crowd here tonight to watch this big game in National League One. One of them, a former Castleford player, Wayne Godwin. He's with Ben on the sidelines.
Wayne is a former favourite here at the Jungle, no doubting who you'd want to win, but it's a cracking game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's entertaining rugby. There's a good atmosphere here. The cast come in numbers, and it's really entertaining. I've come to support my hometown club.
A lot of people are talking about this as a possible grand final rehearsal. How do you stand?
Yeah, definitely. Both teams have been playing well. That's why they're 1 and 2. So it is a close contest, as you can see with the scoreline, and it's the team who completes and keeps hold of possession, because there have been a few errors in the first half, but I'm sure there'll be some more tries to come.
Thanks very much, Wayne.
Thank you.
Good pick from Dennis Moran.
It's a short pitch here at Weldon Road. I'm very, very surprised that there hasn't been more 40-20 attempts.
And it's not a 40-20, but he had a pretty good go at it. But it's noticeable, but it's been a bit more level-headed start to this second half from both these sides.
Probably a more conservative approach from Castleford, although Widnes Bill are still maintaining the policy of offloading the ball forward if he can, even in his own half. They can get their arms free, they keep the ball alive.
It's worked well for them, though, hasn't it?
Kirk conceding the penalty there. Shake of the head, but really didn't have a leg to stand on, Andy Kirk. Neither did the Cas player.
I don't think Scott Gritz helped in that penalty there. If he'd have lost his foot, got involved in that tackle, they would have got the extra second that Kirk wanted.
Penalties mounting in Castleford's favour. 8-3 it reads at the moment, so they're certainly getting plenty of help from the Widnes Vikings in that respect. Here's McGoldrick, hopping his way a bit closer to that Widnes line.
What
Henderson
another big,
now.
powerful athlete there. It's surprising how many of these guys are so athletic, fit and strong, and get involved in the tackle and gain an extra 5 metres with a big, powerful leg drive that they've all got. I think that's a product of them all being full-time.
On the last, McGoldrick is tackled. Will they run it? They will. Chris Charles, though, that's great defence from Dennis Moran. Well, he has a reputation as the try scorer.
Well, that's 3 times that Castleford have run the ball on the last tackle, and it's 3 times that Widnes have survived, and survived with good, solid defence. Castleford have gone for the play because they had 4 attackers, and there were only 3 Widnes defenders, but the 3 men from Widnes came up with the right options. Another mistake now by Widnes, and Charles comes up with the ball. Well, the mistakes from the first half have carried through now to the second.
Well, Wilkes was protesting that that ball was stripped from his grasp.
I think he's got a case there. Chris Charles just got a hand to it.
Lupton losing his footing just short of that line. Henderson arriving at the play of the ball in the nick of time. Here is Chris Charles. McGoldrick. Donlan. Donlan is well tackled. Guttenbeil. McGoldrick just couldn't make up his mind there which way he was going. In the end, he went straight forwards. Dumped to the ground by Bezic and Mark Smith. Didn't like it. Henderson. Brough once more. Floats the ball out wide. Well taken by Shenton. Shenton and Owen had come back on the inside, and it's just not clicking.
Again, another poor option on what was the 4th tackle then, but it's happened previously on the last tackle, and I don't think Castleford are prepared to play the territory game and just make Widnes work from their own line. They're looking to score every single time. I think that's the disease that you get when you're scoring regularly.
They obviously believe that by sending Michael Shenton repeatedly at Dennis Moran, eventually they'll find a mistake, they'll find the way through in a try. It's a policy that they've done now here for almost 50 minutes, and I think it's one that they'll continue for the next half hour.
Here is Paul Noon, trying to get out of his own 20. Gavin Dodd. Wilkes once more. Mark Smith. The noise level just subsiding for a moment. Lee Duran was desperately trying to get that ball away, but he was well wrapped up in the tackle by Chris Charles. Noon now. Noon, and Nannin went without it. There was a Castleford hand in there, and yes, they've got another set of 6 now. Bezic stretching out for the halfway line. Jordan James. James plays the ball. Aaron Summers now, the big men, taking it up the middle. Bezic, Noon doing well. Then getting the ball to Smith. Smith, little dummy. Oh, gets away from them. Has got support on his shoulder, and the try from Jordan James. James off the bench, on the shoulder of his captain. And Widnes a bit more composed in this second half. And Jordan James, with his new hairstyle, gets his 4th try of the season, and he was there on the shoulder.
Well, rugby league isn't all about completing your sets, having a high completion rate and a low error count. It's all about taking your chances, and that's what Widnes have done in this game. Very few opportunities to score, but when they've been within striking range, they've found a way to get over the line. Mike Smith shows how a difficult and dangerous dummy half can be important in rugby league. When he gets the ball, he knows that defenders are on the back foot, goes through the line, pushes off one defender and maintains the balance on the own line offload. In fact, Jordan James is celebrating before he's got over the line.
He is. You wouldn't be happy with that if you were his coach. Just get the ball down before you start to celebrate. But Mark Smith gave a lovely inside flick there, and I think that try came from the big fellas in the middle, just eating up the meters, getting closer and closer to the line. Then when they're within an acceptable range, then they start to play a bit of rugby league.
Nannin with 2 from 3 so far. This one should be 2 more points for the Widnes Vikings. Nannin converts, and the Widnes Vikings supporters behind those posts delighted to see their side ahead by 18 points to 4. And Jordan James, a former Castleford player, the latest try scorer for the Vikings.
Well, here's another example. That inside ball, Bezic and Noon's combination's been good for Widnes tonight on the left-hand side. Smithy's always dangerous in and around the ruck, and then the support from Jordan James takes him over the line for another 6 points. You often hear coaches talk about field position in rugby league and how important it can be. Castleford have had 68 play the balls.
Gavin's on his away. Dodd, just I think, chose the wrong option. He had Scott Griggs on his outside. He came back in field, which a good winger will do, but Griggs was there on his outside. But still the Vikings looking to strike again. Here is Griggs getting his hand on the ball. Just 2 tackles gone. This is a great opportunity for the Vikings now. Moran, here is James. James gets the ball away well to Kirk, and Kirk trying to stretch out. Just for a moment he thought he was through. Damien Blanche now. Moran might fancies the grubber kick instead. Have they got that one down? And Phil Bentham, the video ref, is going to have to adjudicate on that one. Ian Webster was there. A wicked kick from Dennis Moran, but was Webster onside? Did he get the ball down? Phil Bentham has the job of deciding.
He's clearly onside, isn't he? He's behind the 10-metre line. Dennis Moran has already crossed the 10-metre line, and this is amazing. Widnesses have almost their attacking ability outstanding. 4 opportunities in this game to score. This is going to be 4 tries if he grounds the ball correctly. It bounces awkwardly, but I think he has control. They don't even need control. You just need downward pressure on the ball in the in-goal area.
Does his left arm touch it before he puts it down?
There's no movement of the ball barrier. That's a try, in my opinion.
Oh. Now then, as you say, Barry, has he touched that there?
I think he's just tipped it there, hasn't he?
Looks like it. Ian Webster hoping for his 7th try of the season.
You can't tell, though, from that angle whether the ball's knocked on, can you? You can see his arm.
I think it is. I think it hits his hand and then hits his knee and then he catches it. Whether it hits the floor.
Right, the ball's bounced up and then it comes down. Even if it hits his arm, it doesn't hit the ground after that. The benefit of the doubt has to be given to the attacking side.
He's got it there in his left arm. Has he got downward pressure? To the satisfaction of the referee, the video ref as well. He has, well, Ian Webster's giving himself away there.
Even he's surprised.
I think it happened that quickly. He wasn't sure. That's what that face told you.
I think he's not confident lying, but who cares? I look at the options and the last tackle options that Widnes have got, and they're far superior to Castleford, who are just trying to score on every opportunity.
He's got the face of an innocent, as Ian Webster.
Well, to get downfield straight after the try, they couldn't believe it, and then that kick play is a difficult one to defend against. Donlan, the fullback for Castleford, was over at the play the ball area. He'd been defending there, and when the ball bounced through, there were two Widnes players outnumbering the one Castleford defender. One of them was certain to get it, and luckily for Ian Webster, it bounced in his favour. Mark Smith just inside him, but it bounces up, and the video referee thinks that's a fair try.
How many times do players in rugby league aim for those pads and those posts to ricochet and rebound? And we say it every time, the rugby league can do anything. It's bouncing and bobbling all over the place, and if you're in the frame and you're there and you're committed, things are going to happen.
And they normally do happen when Mick Nannin boots the ball, as he does. Straight between the uprights again, and another 2 points. And the Widnes Vikings are taking a grip on this game, 24-4.
One of the interesting things will be how Castleford restarts here with a kick. They've made 5 attempted short restarts and have not challenged for any of the 5. In fact, the last one ended up helping Widnes to get on a roll and get downfield. If this goes short, they need some bodies under it.
Well, the last time Castleford Tigers lost at home, August last year, when they were hammered by St Helens. Of course, they were heading out of Super League then.
You bob on with them
restart.
You bob on with them kicks, Phil. Sorry, Bill. There was only one person, one Castleford player actually challenged and made it a contest, and he was miles off the rugby ball.
And it's one of the best short restarts I've ever seen. The technique's fantastic. The hang time gives players sufficient opportunity to get under and challenge the ball. I can't believe that Castleford have not won one of the 6 back.
There's no excuse. You've got to be reading off the same page. I've no doubt that Danny Brough has said, I'm kicking it short here. You've got to make every kick a contest.
Bezic with another wicked kick, and it almost wrong-footed Wainwright.
I was going to make the point before the last try, Bill, that Castleford have had 68 play the balls in their opponent's half and only scored 1 try. That tells you 2 things. Castleford's attack hasn't really been as hot as it should be, and Widnes' defence has been sensational, particularly on their own line.
Chris Charles hasn't let anybody down. He's worked tirelessly tonight. I bet Salford are looking at this thinking that he was still on board, wishing he was still on board with them.
The ball's still alive. I thought the referee, Peter Taverner, was going to blow for that then, but in fact he put the whistle to his lips, but play continues. Owen has lost that ball, and in fact will have the penalty awarded against him. The tackle was completed, I think.
A little bit of inexperience there, I think.
So it's all going wrong for the Castleford Tigers. They're trailing 24-4.
Blanche trying to put him out of play, and he decided to usher the ball back when I think the tackle had actually been effected.
So maybe he was a bit hard done to. Certainly the Castleford Tigers supporters think so, but it's once more with the Widnes Vikings, who were leading 12-4 at half-time, 24-4 now, their advantage. Well, here was the incident. The tackle was completed.
Damien Blanche could have almost been
I was just going to say that maybe the penalty could have gone the other way.
As it is, Widnes in possession, about 12 metres out. Noon plays the ball. Going down the short side, Bezic fires the pass out. Gavin Dodd spins inside one tackle, gets the ball back to Bezic. He puts another wicket kick in. Smith is there. Was he offside or not?
I think it was close.
You don't think he was offside?
No, he was onside.
I think it was close. Tremendous presence of mind from Bob Bezic there to just put a kick across his body. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving. I think it was McGoldrick who was rubbing his head in one of the Widnes players, but here's that kick. Is he onside?
The groundsman helps you. Look at the grass, the 2 different shades, the way it's cut.
Yeah.
Smith's on the darker grass. Bezic, the kicker, is slightly on the lighter grass, isn't it?
Yeah. Tremendous presence of mind there from Bob Bezic, and perfect grounding of the ball. Well, Mark Smith is lethal.
Phil Bentham had a quiet first half, the video ref, but with a flurry of activity for him. And Mark Smith certainly seemed to get that ball down. Well, this will really put some daylight between the 2 sides. And Widnes, with Mark Smith's second try of the game, score another 4-pointer in quick succession. And another great kick from this Widnes Viking side.
And keeping the ball alive in the tackle is something we spoke about in the first half. They run the play, Bezik's pass out to Dodd. He knows when he can't get over the line, what's the next best option? Let's keep it alive. And then the quick thinking there, I mean, it was telepathic between Bezic and Smith. As soon as the ball went into Bezik's arms, you see Mark Smith set off there, hoping that he would read the ball play, put the ball on the floor and kick it into the in-goal area. And Mark Smith's try, well, just reinforces how dominant Widnes have been and how clinical they have taken their chances here at the Jungle tonight. Versatility of Bezic, just really, really wonderful to watch.
And McNannin, a tougher conversion attempt for him, where Bob Bezic tasted Super League with the Wigan Warriors, making 22 appearances for them, and he does look a class act in this division, doesn't he? Nannin with the conversion attempt. He's missed with that one, but his side are on target to end the Castleford Tigers' 100% record in National League One, because Mark Smith, with his second try of the game, has given them more daylight.
Again, at the risk of repeating myself here, the last tackle option, Gavin Dodd knows he's getting pushed in touch, just lumps it back to Bob Bezic, who decides a deft little kick, maybe into the in-goal, with Mark Smith chasing and putting pressure on the Castleford player. Just an excellent option.
I don't want you, thanks. I don't need you, thanks.
Has Danny Brough spoken to his chasers, told them they're going to go short?
Well, the referee is going to speak to Ryan McGoldrick and Paul Noon, because there was that little incident after the try was scored. You've got a couple of seasoned campaigners there, and Peter Taverner probably saying he should know better.
It was just before I saw Ryan McGoldrick just give a little bit of a rub with his forehead into the jaw of Noon, but a little bit of frustration creeping into Castleford's play here.
Well, they must be frustrated, because if you're going to lose your 100% record, then at least you want to go down all guns blazing, and the Castleford Tigers' guns aren't blazing, are they?
Nobody challenging for that kick once again. They're just relying
here though with the ball.
They're just relying on the error though. You can't do that, Phil.
They're all watching. McNannin drops the ball. Unchallenged, isn't it?
That's a bad error from McNannin. Maybe poor technique, but I'm not sure standing and watching the ball is the best option.
Shenton. Well, is this game beyond the Castleford Tigers? Can the best they hope for now be a bonus point? They need to close this gap of 24 points if they are to achieve at least 1 point from this game. McGoldrick. Liaffa. Brough now. Guttenbiel. He's worked hard for his side. Here's Brough. Terry Glassy now. The Castleford Tigers supporters subdued. So is their side. Lupton puts the kick in, and Damien Blanche fields it. Very soft hands there.
I do think that's a better option. I know I keep saying it, but making Widnes work off their own line is a little bit of the chess game that is rugby league. The closer you are to your opponent's line, the better chance you've got of scoring, and likewise when you're in defence, the more that they're going to make a mistake. That was the perfect kick, I feel.
Gavin Dodd doing well to offload that ball. Nannin now. Nannin trying to go outside Stuart Donlan. Donlan got the tackle in, the ball coming back for the Vikings. Here is Bezic. Created a couple of those tries with his kicks for the Widnes Vikings. Aaron Summers now. Summers tackled by Liaffa. They've done well here, the Castleford Tigers, to pin the Vikings deep in their own half, and Saxton is on now.
The final quarter's an intriguing one for both coaches. The Widnes coach Steve McCormack wants to know whether his side can maintain the concentration, particularly in defence, for 80 minutes. And Terry Matteson and the Castleford fans want to know what his team have left in them.
Played 5-1-5 so far for the Castleford Tigers, as it is for the Widnes Vikings, but the Tigers top of the table at the moment on points difference. Everybody's favourite for promotion back to Super League, and certainly a long way to go yet. This just one part of the National League campaign, which culminates in the grand final at Headingley Carnegie in October. These two strongly fancied to contest that, but Whitehaven, Dave Rotherham's side, also in form, also threatening. And we'll see Whitehaven in a couple of weeks' time. In fact, we're seeing the Vikings on the attack again. Gavin Dodd was arriving, but by that time Mick Nannin had been tackled.
Well, we've been critical of Castleford in attack, but I think we have to now start to recognise just how strong Widnes' defence has been. They almost have every man stood in the right position on every play, and that's a very difficult thing to do in a game of rugby league.
I do know, talking to Steve McCormack this week, they've just worked really hard on defence. They've talked about the first 3 steps and getting good line speed and totally negating what Castleford have got to offer, and it seems to have worked a treat.
Moran, oh, Kirk is away, he'll fancy this one, gets it to Blanche, and Blanche returns to the jungle to get another Vikings try. Wonderful hands from Andy Kirk, scooped up by Damien Blanche, and the winger thrusts the dagger into the wounded Tigers, and they will have felt that, getting his 6th try of the season.
When you're hot, you're hot, and Widnes is certainly going through that at the moment. After being exploited out wide themselves, it's their turn now to move the ball wide. Dennis Brand's pass there. Look at the combination between Kirk, the player who receives the ball, and the number 11, Lee Doran. It's Lee Doran who actually holds up the Castleford defenders on the inside. It goes unnoticed, not by Danny Brough or Andy Kirk, and certainly not by Damien Blanche, who goes over for another happy try in the corner. Once he got on the outside, backed himself, but that's a great one-handed offload when he knew he couldn't quite make the line.
The money play just came a second before that when they isolated Danny Brough. Danny Brough had 2 decisions to make and 2 players running at him. He obviously made the wrong decision, which allowed Kirk to just tear that outside line. And what a terrific piece of skill from Andy Kirk. He showed the dummy, decided he was going to go for it, and when it looked like he wasn't get there, just a nice little dink on the outside, and Damien Blanche doesn't score many as easy as that.
Mick Nannin kicked 11 goals in Widnes' last game. That was a battering of Backley Bulldogs by 66 points to 14. And they're doing a pretty impressive job on the Castleford Tigers now. Damien Blanche with that try. An early birthday present for him because his 24th birthday comes up next week. Mick Nannin looking to put the icing on his birthday cake, but he's drifted that one wide as well. Nevertheless, 32-4 now, the Widnes Vikings lead. As Phil was saying earlier on, the last league meeting between these two, September 2004, 7-6 the final score. People were anticipating this sort of scoreline, but that's not the way the Widnes Vikings see it.
You just missed it there. It was the decision that Danny Brough had to make. He chose the inside player. Andy Kirk took the outside line, and it was just a simple little pass on the outside once he'd committed that winger.
Get a grip for your 6. Both him.
He's not going to give up, is he?
Do you know what? He might be better running and chasing those himself. He'd probably have a better chance than his 12
they've got one. They've got one.
Saxton it is who's come up with it.
Again, I think it was from a Widnes error, though. It wasn't Castleford forcing the issue.
Terry Glassy.
These two have worked hard. Terry Glassy and Liafa have just constantly battered, and the big, powerful units, them two.
Barker now. They're looking to salvage something now, the Castleford Tigers. Pride is probably all they can hope for, barring a miracle. Not even a bonus point, I don't think, is going to come their way. Chris Charles. McGoldrick. Saxton. The ball goes backwards and comes infield for Donlan. He'll go under the posts, and they get a try. They'll get probably 2 points to add to it. They'll get into double figures. But is it too late for the Castleford Tigers? Try number 6 of the season for Stuart Donlan.
Well, the short kick-off eventually paid off for Castleford. They get up and the challenge for the ball. It's knocked towards Tommy Saxton. He cuts through the defensive line. One of the rare occasions when Castleford do see a chink in this Widnes line. They shift the ball all the way across their right wing, and when it's eventually turned back inside, look at the pace of Donlan. He accelerates. It's one of the only rare occasions when there is a line to break through with Widnes. You see quality passing. They stretch Widnes across the whole side of the pitch, and once they've taken them over there, the Widnes chase from the inside was pretty good, but eventually Donlan found that little gap he needed to get behind Cassidy and score.
16th try of the season for Stuart Donlan, converted by Danny Brough. 10 points to 32 now the scoreline.
What about Widnes' reaction to that try? They just sprinted up, put the ball down and kicked off, and they looked to get on with the game. I think maybe that try, and all I know we've looked at it a couple of times, maybe the chase from Widnes, from Noon I think it was a little bit too keen. The next man along from him was Mick Cassidy, who suddenly couldn't make that ground up, and there was a gaping hole. But a bit of over-enthusiasm. Steve McCormack would be promoting that healthily. That's a really good sign from his side.
Henderson. Well, another try. Oh, and Barker's gone without that ball. Picked up by Cassidy. I was just going to say another swift Castleford Tigers try, and that might just get Widnes' hearts fluttering. But it needs to be a quick try.
Let's give Andy Kirk a little bit of recognition there. His aggression in this tackle here, bang! I know the ball's forced through, but he's prepared to challenge and wrestle and work his opponent over.
Two former Leeds Academy players there, just reacquainting themselves.
Keep coming, fellas, keep coming.
Well, the Castleford fans pretty quiet now, as great offload, and Webster looking for a second try. Saxton looking to stop him, doing well.
Sidestepped into Saxton, didn't he?
He did. There's a try on the left if they go.
Grix fancies one himself, wrong option, and that'll be the turnover.
Sometimes players lose count of the tackles. I think that's what Scott Grix did. Wasn't aware that it was the last play. It was the last chance to score in that set.
They'll just be happy to keep him down at that end of the field, and Kurt Dixon felt that. Barker.
And again, Mick Cassidy, well, that's what you want from your senior professionals, leading the way with their actions.
Well, here's a senior professional, Terry Glassy.
And likewise,
well
Glassy and Liaffa.
Chris Charles as well. Liaffa motoring. Still on his feet. Up to the halfway line. Saxton now demoted to the bench for this game, but hoping to make an impact in the time he's got on the pitch now. On the last, and Brough hoists the kick. Bezic trying to chase him down, probably too deep. Grix had time underneath that ball. He's got time to run it back now. Gets away from the first tackle. Brough is there to follow up, and eventually brings the Widnes full-back down.
I think there's a determination in both camps to win the next 10 minutes. The game might already be going in Widnes' favour, but there's a significant level of aggression and intensity now in both teams to get a psychological win over their opponent, Bill.
Make the 10, guys, make the 10.
Well, that's the way the scoreboard looks. From the Widnes Vikings point of view, 32-10. Ruining Castleford Tigers' 100% record in the process. The Vikings taking over at the top of the table. Bezic. And Noon couldn't take that ball. It's still loose. A little bit sloppy, and eventually they'll come back for the knock-on. Well, this begins another weekend of action on Sky Sports tomorrow night. We're at the Gal Farm for the Huddersfield Giants, the form side of Super League, against the Bradford Bulls. Should be a great game. Sky Sports, 7:30, Sky Sports 2 that is, and on HD2. And then Saturday evening at 7 o'clock, Warrington Wolves against Harlequins, again on Sky Sports 2 and HD2 from 7 o'clock. And of course, Huddersfield Giants in form. Robbie Paul, one of the players making them tick at the moment, and he'll be ticking in our studio after this game for the rest of boots and all.
When you mentioned the start of this game, you mentioned it was like a fight. Oh,
another break from Donlan. Donlan again drifting in field, still going. 10 minutes on the clock. Can Castleford at least make a fight of it? Owen looking for his second, coming back in field. Kirk doing well to defend there. It comes to Brough. Brough away from one, Lee Duran with the tackle. Brough trying to offload, he gets it away to Charles, and Widnes defending desperately as though there was only 1 point in the game. Duran and Brough eyeing each other up, Henderson eyeing the try line, and Grix doing ever so well there to get the danger away.
Well, you need a goalkeeper with safe hands at the back, and I think Widnes have that here tonight. Scott Grix has been fantastic, hasn't it? There's a ball knocked out. The referee says that's a knock-on.
I think he knocked that out.
Looked and played at that with his right arm.
I think he knocked that out, Phil.
Come down now.
Castleford aren't complaining. They formed the scrum. They want to stop the clock. They still want to keep hope alive in tonight's game.
Going back to the point I was making there, Phil, you said it was like a cup final at the start, and I feel it was, but I think both teams have started to realise now that there's 2 points, and these teams are going to be fighting real hard come the end of the season. Definitely a hand in by Lupton there.
Time off. Time off.
Is it up to Noon to control the ball, though, do you?
I think that's either play on or a penalty because
Yeah.
there are 2 men in the tackle.
I agree.
Time off.
Head and feet to the Castleford Tigers on the Widnes 10-metre line. Brough, oh, little pirouette, wrong-footed everybody, wrong-footed his teammates, and gets in under the posts. Well, they enjoyed that. Maybe worth the admission money alone for the Castleford Tigers supporters. And he's looking to take the conversion quickly as well.
They won't mess around here, will they? Bang, that's over, that's 2 points. 3 more like that, and they might be just celebrating a little tonight.
32-16 the scoreline.
Well, an important call by the referee here. He said this is a knock-on by Paul Noon. Widnes need to up their game. They can't clock off yet tonight. You know, there's 2 players here who love to intercept passes. Danny Brough's one, Dennis Brown's the other. He goes for what he thinks is the interception ball. Danny Brough has already read that play, spins around, keeps hold of the ball, with his speed, gets over the line.
Danny Brough, famous in this game for his long passes, but he's just as good at the show and go. He does a little rinky-dinky-doo pirouette there and scores right under the black dot.
Oh, and then Castleford probably sums up their performance this evening. Just stood and watched, a little bit of indecision, and that one finding touch. And Widnes immediately take the pressure off right in the deep in the Castleford half.
I think kick-off restarts might be on the agenda for room for improvement here at Castleford, both their own and their opponents.
So Widnes immediately on the attack. Moran has had a quiet night.
There's not many
As far as
matches
try
Dennis
scoring.
doesn't play and he doesn't score when
That's
there's
right.
when there's 32 points on the board.
4 hat-tricks already this season. 19 tries. And Widnes, well, they've taken that steam right out of the Castleford Tigers there. The Tigers were at least looking for a bonus point. It was within sight if they got one more try, but there could be a little distance between them again now. Moran is tackled. He's determined to get over that try line before the night is out. Everybody else has got in on the act.
Mark Smith pointing at the post.
Tries another grubber kick. There
There
could
you
be
go.
in there.
Return the favour to his pal.
Bezic deserves that one, but is he going to get it? Phil Bentham has to have a look at that one as well.
Just
Wicked kick.
Just watch on the lead-up how Mark Smith points exactly to where he's going to put it. Bob Bezic times his run to perfection. I think he's well onside there. It's just about the grounding.
Did he run out of field? That's the question.
Well, he gets the ball down. Don't Widnes make that play look very easy. If you're watching at home, you'd think, what? Or you're a fan of another side, you'd ask yourself why your own team don't do this more often. I think it's because it's more difficult than what Bezic and Smith have made it look tonight. I think he controls the ball. I think that's a try.
That looks like it.
That's a try.
Yeah.
Just returning the favour from one friend to another.
Kill the Castleford revival.
And he's earned that, hasn't he, Bob Bezic?
He has, he's created some, and now he's scored one.
Yeah, his own kicking game has been a big factor. Now he's on the receiving end. He gets the try. Bang goes the bonus point for the Castleford Tigers. And this is going to be
Jordan James's sister there.
defeat.
Jordan James's sister holding a nice little message for him.
5th try of the season for Bezic. Well, the Castleford Tigers have inflicted this sort of punishment on their rivals. Terry Madison's side averaging 55 points a National League game going into this game. They kind of expected to find themselves on the end of this sort of scoreline.
Yeah, but they didn't play well against Lee in their last match, so perhaps it's a form slump at the moment. They'll be hoping they can reverse it rather quickly. They don't want to be in this sort of shape when it comes to the end of the season, and they might not even make the grand final.
Plenty for Terry Maddison to think about. He'll be hoping Ryan Clayton alongside him will be back soon as well. Clayton out with a very painful rib injury at the moment, reduced to sitting and conveying messages on the radio. Craig Hubie due back as well. Meanwhile, Mick Nannin is back on target. 38-16 the scoreline in favour of the Widnes Vikings.
I think the end of the match now is all about skill and class, rather than it being a tremendous kick here from Mark Smith. Again, just having that intuition. Bob Bezic just follows up a lost cause. Again, great presence of mind. Some real skill being shown right at the end of the match, and there's no fatigue being shown.
They've come up with that ball. Oh, it's gone forward though, says Peter Taberner. McGoldrick can't believe it. Donlan it was who was there.
It's Kirk Dixon who challenged for the ball.
On.
It's taken them just over an hour, but they're now starting to catch on to this idea that they've got a chance of getting the ball back from these kicks.
Come on, Tom, get in.
Well, certainly not the end of the world for the Castleford Tigers, but it's a big reality check maybe. When they won promotion in 2005, in fact, they didn't come top of the table. Went on to win the grand final. But they're going to lose leadership tonight, and the Widnes Vikings will assume that.
It's only early in the season, but Widnes look a far better team than last year. I think they're playing a more expansive way. They offload the ball. And I really think that the standard this season, certainly as Widnes as a gauge, has gone up.
Less old-timers in the Widnes side as well, Phil. That's what you're getting at.
Well, I think that they've probably addressed some of the areas on which cost them last year, and Steve McCormack knows the areas that they had to improve. It looks as though they've done that tonight. The defence is fantastic. When they've had the ball, there's not a simple case of completing the set and getting it to the other end of the field. If there's a chance to keep the ball alive, they will do.
I think you've dug yourself out of that hole very elegantly.
Very well, yeah. Just as I had my arm round his throat, but Steve McCormack's a tough cookie, a clever cookie, not tough cookie. He's a very clever coach. Made some shrewd buys in the off-season, and he's just a good motivator of men.
Well, that just about sums up Castleford Tigers' performance, and they're going to pay the price for another drop ball, and Damien Blanche is going to enjoy his birthday. Gets his second try of the night, handed to him on a plate by this Castleford Tigers side. But Cass supporters not pleased. He's gone to the video ref just to see how that ball came loose, but I can't see how he can deny that one.
Well, I've rarely seen a side convert more chances into points in a game of rugby league. Whenever there's been an opportunity to pick the ball up and get across the line and ground it for a try, Widnes have taken it. Briggs knows he can't get the ball, they try and tow it through. First it's Doran who kicks it on, and that's a fantastic pick-up at speed by Damien Blanche.
And he was onside.
He was clearly onside, he was behind the man who kicked the ball. We'll just take a second look at it again. Castleford trying to keep the ball alive. It's a misdirected pass, one of many tonight for the Tigers. And then the ball's kicked by a couple of Castleford players before Doran, the 11 in the white shirt, kicks the ball on. Blanche, number 2, was clearly behind him. And the video referee wants a second look at it. It's kicked by Richard Owen firstly, then Shenton kick it back towards their own line.
Yeah, he's onside
before Doran
there.
kicks it on.
It's a nice little tap forward from Doran. He'd get a game for Man City there.
I think the big skill then was the pickup, wasn't it? The ball's bouncing at speed, it's rolling kindly for him, but look, one hand in front of it, one hand behind the ball, scoops it up, made it look so easy, and scored again. He just can't believe on the bus here tonight they never thought there would be 40 points on the board.
Damien Blanche, of course, shown the door by Castleford last year whilst they were in Super League, and having been at Widnes with him last year, I just couldn't understand why they'd got rid of him. Such a powerful athlete and a lethal finisher. A little bit of indecision there and maybe a bit of tiredness creeping in, but just the keenness and the urgency to pick the ball up, scoop it up, fantastic.
I think the play typifies Castleford tonight. In attack, there's been a lack of awareness between teammates about who's running into which hole, who's receiving the ball, who's a decoy option, and that was typified there with that play. Misdirected pass and another chance for Widnes that they convert into points.
7 tries so far this season for Damien Blanche. 2 of them here against his former club. And Mick Nannin, well, 5 from 8's not a bad return, but by his standards probably not maximum effort. If he'd had his golden kicking boots on, it could be an even more emphatic victory. And that's 2 more points anyway. 44-16 the scoreline. The Widnes Vikings are going home with the points, going home with the scalp. The Castleford Tigers supporters are just going home with the hump. A great reward for Damien Blanche. I seem to remember he paid his own way over here, didn't he? He took a punt to come over to get a game, a contract.
Yeah, nice fella as well, Damien Blanche, and he's come to play and went overseas. Oh,
another one comes up.
Donlan try.
He's going to get his second. I reckon Phil Bentham might need to have a look at this. Well, there you go. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
It's paid off in the last minute. I tell you what, he's shown great speed, Stuart Donlan, tonight for both tries. He gets the ball. I think it's Kirku again, challenges for the ball. It bounces favourably for Donlan, but his speed and acceleration down that touchline was fantastic. Gaskell comes in to challenge for the ball. Dodd misses it, and Donlan doesn't.
Danny Brough from the touchline, looking to end the night, at least for him, on a positive note with that conversion attempt, but he's missed with that. 20 points to 44, the scoreline now. The Widnes Vikings have got the victory in their grip, but Stuart Donlan at least has got a couple of tries to take his tally to 17 for the season. And Steve McCormack, as the hooter sounds, satisfied with that. Pats all round, Jordan James with a pat on the back. Bob Bezic celebrates. He has had a great game for the Widnes Vikings, and they have maintained their 100% record. They've wrecked the Castleford Tigers' 100% record. It's the Vikings who go to the top of the table, and we can hear now from their coach, Steve McCormack, who's with Ben.